It is time to release your inhibitions. That is our topic today in this timeless pick a card tarot reading. But before we dive into that, hi, my name is Juliana. If you're new here, welcome to Sunflower Philosophy Tarot. And I just wanted to say before we get into it, if you are interested in booking a personal reading or checking out our hypnosis and human design services, you can go to sunflowerphilosophy.com. Links are in the description and the pinned comment. So feel free to check any of that out. But now, let's get into it. So first things first, I want to do a brief centering exercise before I get into the group selection. Now, if you are new here, the centering exercise is just a few minutes of meditation together to get into a centered place where we can tap into our intuition and know which messages are most meant for us. And I like to do that at the beginning of every reading, even before I get into the group selection. But if you are not down for that right now, you can feel free to use the timestamps to skip ahead to the group selection or even to your group if you're just ready to go. But for those of you who are sticking around for the centering exercise, let's do it. So first things first, if you are in the middle of doing any activity where you have to pay attention or you're driving, skip this for now. But those of you who can, please get relaxed, take a seat, lie down, whatever you want to do, whatever your situation is, just get comfortable. And if you feel called to do so, you may close your eyes. And tune in to your breathing. Just intend to bring your attention within, bring your attention to your inner world. And as you're settling in, getting in touch with yourself and your own energy, let's set the intention now that with each inhale, you are calling your energy back to yourself. And with each exhale, you are releasing energy that no longer serves you or does not belong to you. Very good, very good. All right, so you can just continue to breathe and intend to inhale your energy and release energy that is not yours. And listen to the sound of my voice as you relax into your own energy and embrace a feeling of calm and a feeling of connection with yourself. As always, these tarot readings are about connecting with our deepest intuition. So even if you're getting a reading from someone else, from me, from a reader online, from a personal reading that you've purchased, it doesn't matter. It's all about your intuition. There are plenty of people who can bring out messages that resonate with you, but you are the only one who will be able to know for sure what truly resonates with you. And that all comes down to your inner compass. So that's what we're attuning right now. We're attuning to your inner compass, to all of our individual inner compasses. And we know that whatever we are meant to hear for our highest good, that is what will come through. So enjoy being connected to your own energy right now. Enjoy being in your own energy and releasing anything that is not you. And with today's topic about releasing your inhibitions, which is really just about releasing anything that's holding you back, anything that is keeping you stuck or chained, knowing that tapping into your deepest intuition is one way that you can override your inhibitions, because your inhibitions come from the more egoic or more animal, well, I don't even want to necessarily say that, but I guess more self-preservational side of you, a part of you that might serve a purpose at one time, but then at a certain point might eventually become limiting. And it's not a stagnant or permanent part of you, so that's why you are fully within your power to release old limitations, to release mindsets that inhibit you. Because those are not permanent identities, they're merely parts of us or tools that we've picked up on to help us at one point that might later on inhibit something that we want to do, something that we want to step into, the person that we want to become. So just know that anything that comes up today that you're ready to release, you are ready. And it's coming up because you're in the process probably already of doing that. So feel confident in that, and feel confident in the fact that you're ready to pick the group that is most resonant with you. So if you would like to sit in meditation for a little bit longer, feel free to pause the video and just keep paying attention to your breathing and relaxing in your energy. And for those of you who are ready, meet me over in the group selection. Okay, so thank you if you joined me for the brief centering exercise. Thank you if you did not. Either way, I'm happy to have you here. As I said in the beginning, this reading today is going to be all about releasing your inhibitions, meaning releasing anything that's holding you back. And we're going to set the intention, as always, to come up with the thing that's the most important for you to hear right now. Whatever it is, whatever could be holding you back that's the most important for you to hear about right now, that's what will come up. I'll get a card to clarify what exactly we are releasing today, what exactly is inhibiting you right now, if there is anything, and then I will draw more cards from a different deck to get advice for you. I also, as you can see, have selected a Hafiz card for each of you. Just Hafiz being I think an ancient poet. Honestly, it's been a while since I've used these cards, and I kind of forget exactly who Hafiz was, but you likely know, and if you don't know, there's just a lot of good wisdom in the cards and the booklet that comes along with them, so we'll tap into some of that as further advice for you to help you release your inhibitions. So that's what we're doing. As you can see, I have 4 groups. I have a different color pencil for each group, and that is something that you can use to choose as well, but based on the colors, or just based on the timestamps in the description, based on your intuition, whatever it is. So for group 1, we have this bright pink color pencil. For group 2, we have this blue color pencil. For group 3, we have this yellow color pencil. And for group 4, we have this green color pencil. So feel free to pause the video, take a moment, decide on your group, head down to the pinned comment or the description, select your group, and I will see you over in your reading. Hi group 1, if you selected the hot pink color pencil, then you're in the right place, and this is your reading all about releasing your inhibitions. So we have a Hafiz card here that I drew ahead of time. I'm going to, am I gonna flip that over right now? Yeah, I'm gonna flip it over right now, but we'll read the booklet for it later. So the Hafiz card that you have is number 38, Clear Away Old Energies. So let's see, yeah, there we go, no glare on it. Clear away old energies. All right, I'll put that over here. And to get started, well, first of all, I wanna say, with the hot pink color pencil, I mean, to me, this color pops so much, especially compared to the other colors that I chose for this reading. So, and I chose color pencils because honestly, when I think about releasing inhibitions, so releasing anything that makes us feel insecure, held back, anything like that, I think about self-expression, right? Because I feel like releasing inhibitions helps you embrace a greater level of self-expression. It's about how you express yourself and feeling free and comfortable to express yourself. or even if it's not comfortable for you to express yourself, doing it anyway, right? And to me, this pink color pencil is so expressive. It's so bright. It catches your eye. And so I feel like for many people in this group, you either are already an eye-catching person, or you have a personality that catches people's eye. You might even like that to an extent, or that's what you're looking to step more into, or that's something that you're actually meant to do, or that's who you're meant to be, but you haven't stepped into that energy yet. So we'll see, because it will depend. I don't know what exactly your group needs to hear in terms of releasing inhibitions. Maybe your inhibitions aren't as much about being seen in a certain way, or maybe it's not about catching other people's eye, being afraid to catch people's eye. Maybe it's something else, but either way, that's definitely an important theme here, is like kind of being like, even like I feel like maybe being louder with your fashion sense or with your looks, having colorful hair or tattoos or something like that. Like there's something here about your physical appearance almost that I feel like is eye-catching or is important and relevant to this conversation. And then we'll read the booklet for the Hafiz card later, but with clear away old energies, I mean, we're clearing away inhibitions. So I feel like that is on brand, on point for this reading, but also it feels like for you and your group in specific, whatever inhibitions that we're releasing today for you, that you're being asked to release or that you're ready to release, are old energies, like are things that might come up for you sometimes still that are really outdated. Like it's not necessarily, like it's something I feel like you're ready to let go of. Like it's been maybe a long journey for you or a long time coming that you're like stepping out of this, releasing it, you know? I feel like it's something that you might even have been aware of for a long time. So I'm getting even like things that came up in childhood or from your teenage years, like you're a long time grown adult, but there's still some insecurity from when you were a teenager that keeps coming up that you're just like done with, you know? And especially if it's about your looks, that's coming through a lot. So we'll see. Let's get, we're going to get a card from the Aleister Crowley tarot deck, the Thoth tarot deck by Aleister Crowley. And we're going to see what inhibition you're letting go of, and then we'll get some cards from the Biddy Tarot to get more advice for you on how to let go of that inhibition. So for group one, what inhibition is group one releasing at this time? Oh, okay, this is interesting. Yeah, and I'm gonna keep, yeah, that's plain and simple. Inhibitions surrounding success. And it's so funny that this card came out. Maybe this is my group too, guys. Because last night I was in an Artist Way group that I'm a part of, and one of the topics that came up was success, and we did a little exercise where we wrote down things that we felt were successful in, things that we want to be successful in, and things that other people see us as successful in. And it was kind of a difficult exercise to do. On one hand, because sometimes it feels awkward to consider yourself as successful if you are sort of conditioned with the belief that you have to be humble and you have to, and you feel weird about recognizing compliments. You feel like that makes you a bad person to consider yourself successful, or even you feel like the examples of people that you see as successful are bad people. Maybe you attribute unconsciously or consciously the notion of success with being a bad person in terms of like you see that as like the only people who can be successful in this world get there by hurting others or pushing others down, and maybe your lens of what success is very narrow, right? In that way. And also because sometimes when you're confronted with things that you don't feel you're successful at, it hurts because you want to be, and there might be a part of you that doesn't know how you're going to get there or doesn't necessarily believe in yourself or fears the things that come along with success, namely visibility. Because I feel like for most people in this group, visibility is an important part of your success. And that's not to say that being visible is inherent to any kind of success. Success is really anything that you want it to be. Success is how you define it. It can be part of it can be wealth. It can be status. It can be celebrity and having a lot of people's eyes on you or your work. But it can also simply be feeling happy, healthy, and doing something that you enjoy doing, enjoying your life, living your best life. And part of living your best life could be, I really want to make art and put it out there to people. And it doesn't necessarily matter as much to you if you make a ton of money or not, but still you want to share your art with others. You want to have that connection with people where you create something and then they respond to it. And that requires a level of being seen, of being the center of attention, of having people interpret and misinterpret your work. And you might want a lot of people to do that, to see your work, to see you, to engage with what you're doing, to have that satisfying experience of making a thing and then having other people be affected by it. Because maybe you've had that experience with other people's work and it's really inspiring to you. But then when you actually go to do it, it's hard to feel at peace with being seen on that level, being seen on that scale. And so you could feel inhibited in just the amount of scrutiny that you're afraid that you'll face if you reach the success that you're looking for. Yeah, being seen is a big important part with the part of this group because of this pink pencil here. Oh, and I should say this card that says success, it's the Six of Pentacles in this deck. So the Six of Pentacles, often in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, depicts a wealthy person giving money to poorer people. And so it also could, honestly, for a lot of you, success really could be tied in with money. Maybe a lot of you feel that those mixed feelings around, I want to make good money, I want to have a lot to give, but I'm also afraid of being seen as wealthy, being maybe envied, being maybe expected to be generous, or wanting to be generous, but also not being sure how to get to the place where you feel comfortable, like you have enough to be generous with. There's a lot of mixed feelings that come with this word success. And I feel like this is coming up for this group because you guys are actively working your way towards success, whether you know it or not. But you might not fully understand what success means to you at this time. And so perhaps for you at this moment, it would be helpful to sit down and define what success means to you at this time, knowing that the definition of success that you have will and can and will probably change over your life, which is also the task that I have been set this week by my group. So that's funny. But if all of that is resonating so far, because just with this clear away old energies, I definitely feel like you're intent on some kind of goal or some kind of vision for your life, that if it's slow going or if it feels blocked in any way, it's because of literally just old, I'm getting old stuff that's coming up that's just ready to be released, old inhibitions that you have around feeling successful, being successful, believing that you can be successful. That could have to do, it could manifest as a lot of the things that I talked about in terms of projecting negative things onto wealth and success, or worrying about being scrutinized in the public eye, or not being sure if you can handle your art or your creations being interpreted and misinterpreted by people around the world. But I feel like those thoughts, those doubts, and those fears are emboldened and feel bigger because of a deeper either disbelief in yourself that started in childhood or adolescence, or a deeper like fear of being seen that started there, that is actually like down to maybe one instance or one dynamic that was happening as a child, that like all these other fears and reasons that your mind could come up with to not pursue your goals or to not be successful are kind of excuses for that part of you to stay small or to stay unseen, because that part of you still doesn't feel comfortable with it. But like, again, that's very old energy. I think that most of you has moved on from that, and it's really just getting the rest of you on board. So that's what's coming through so far. I'm gonna pull these tarot cards to get some more advice, to get some more context, some more advice for you on how to release your inhibitions around success. So how can group 1 release their inhibitions around success? Okay, first up we have the Moon. How can group 1 release their inhibitions around success? We have the Chariot. How can group 1 release their inhibitions around success? We have the Page of Swords and Strength. And one more card, please. How can group 1 release... All right. I'm going to count this as one card with 2 clarifiers. That's how we're going to do it. Death on the bottom of the deck. That feels big. Okay. We have the Moon, the Chariot, the Page of Swords, Strength, and then the Emperor, clarified by Judgment and the Queen of Cups. Yeah, okay. So, lots of powerful stuff. We have lots of major arcana out here. We have the Moon, the Chariot, Strength, the Emperor, Judgment, and Death. Fun. You might be have a little bit of like a dark humor in you. You might also have a little bit of you might be quite sarcastic at times, or self-deprecating even. I feel like if self-deprecation is sort of your crutch that you lean on, that might be letting go of some of that for the time being, at least, might be beneficial to your journey to success, guys. But let's get into it. So with the Moon coming out first, immediately I was feeling like, yeah, because we're clearing away old energies, I feel like a lot of I think the first place to start is your subconscious, reprogramming your subconscious beliefs around success. So ways that you can do that. Well, that's what people use mantras for, affirmations, hypnosis. If you paid attention at the beginning, or if you know anything about me, I am a hypnotist. My mom is also a hypnotist, and we hypnotize people. We make hypnoses. At this time, I don't know if any of the ones that we've created will be up on our shop at this like time of recording. But if you're listening to this like much later, we might already have some recorded hypnosis recordings that you could check out. So if you wanted to check out our offerings, one that's on our list that we definitely want to create is a hypnosis around success. So that might be there. But regardless, there's so many different ways that you can reprogram your subconscious and your subconscious beliefs. Really, even just like noticing your presumptions around the word success and opening your heart and mind to different interpretations of what that means to you, of how you react to that word, of how you react to that concept in your life. That's like the first step. And then, it's a consistent practice of learning to see yourself as successful, as worthy of success, and learning to see success as a good thing, and a thing that is good for you and good for the people around you, good for the world, good for your life. That's where we're starting with that subconscious, because like I said, there's something like deep in there, this like self-doubt and or self-fulfilling prophecy of like, oh, it's just not going to happen for me. Yeah. It's like, I feel like you have this assumption, this like foregone conclusion that might not even be fully conscious at this time, that is just like, I will not be successful, things will not work for me. Like, I'm never going to be that person that everyone looks at and is like, wow, that person is so successful. This makes me think of this makes me think of the moon, right? The moon is a celestial body that we see and appears to emit light for us. We only see it at night, or mostly we only see it at night. Maybe in the evenings, maybe at other times of the day, but not as commonly. We see it, appears to shine brightly at night, but it is actually reflecting the light of the sun. So it's not emitting its own light, technically. So part of your subconscious or conscious fears of success is, I'm getting the song The Moon Will Sing by the Crane Wives. I shine only with the light you gave me. It feels like maybe you're... okay. So for some of you, you might feel... Maybe you grew up feeling a bit overshadowed in your childhood by other people or other things that were going on. And so there developed an expectation that you will not be seen, or that you will not be prioritized, or that other people are more interesting than you. Other people are more meant for visibility than you are. It could also be a feeling that you have defined success for yourself based on what other people have defined success as for you, right? So whether that's like your parents' idea of success, society that you live in, the community that you're surrounded by, friends who might be successful in a specific way that's different than the way that you are, or just feeling like you've achieved some goals that you've wanted to in life, and they're your goals, but they're not goals that are broadly defined as being like successful. Like maybe like you really wanted to get your health in order, and you did, and it might not be in a way where like, oh, people are like, oh wow, like you look great, you lost so much weight, right? It's like that's something that people can see, and a lot of times people associate like that kind of physical, visible transformation as like, oh wow, you really did it, like you lost weight. But maybe for you it's more like, I want to feel better, I want to like get up in the morning and feel good and have more energy, and just like exercise for myself and have a better relationship with food. Things that might not, maybe don't show up as much visibly in your physique or in a way that other people can see, but for you, you've been successful at that, and it feels really good and it's great for you, but it's not something that gets recognized. Like people aren't like, oh wow, yeah, you put in so much work, I can see that, because they maybe weren't around for that. So I feel like there's something about recognition here that's a pain point for you. That's a little bit difficult for you. And it's like you want it. It's like you want that validation, but then the more that you want that validation, the less that you feel like you can have it. Because there's a bit of a push and pull energy there, because it's like you almost want the validation, but then you're uncomfortable with having it, you're uncomfortable with receiving it, and you don't know how to hold that. But I do feel like, again, it all comes down to reprogramming your subconscious mind, and the more that you take steps that are outside of your comfort zone and or change the way that you think and speak about yourself and about the concept of success, maybe even journaling, writing down like what does success feel like for me right now? Like, what have I been successful at? What would I call a success in my life? And what are things that I don't feel successful at, but I really want to be? And seeing if you can pick something and take an actionable step towards it without putting so much pressure on it being successful right off the bat, right? But still moving in that direction. Which brings me to the Chariot, which is all about staying on your path, staying on your chariot, staying the course, just keep going. And that's why I do feel like a lot of you are on your path to success already in like whatever way that you want to experience it. You're already on that path. It's really just a matter of staying, even when it gets wobbly, even when you have those doubts, even when those old feelings of I can't be successful, or comparing yourself to others. That could be a really big thing too, with the moon having come out as like, to me, also feeling like someone feeling like they don't have their own light to shine, and they don't feel confident in their own abilities and their own ability to take up space and to be seen. It's like you might still experience those doubts, but I feel like you're actively you're doing it anyway. You're working on doing it anyway. You're actively working through those doubts. You're actively moving forward even when it feels difficult. And that is what you're meant to do at this time. Just keep going. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. I'm really getting Dory from Finding Nemo. And one thing about Dory, if you recall, if you've seen Finding Nemo, which if you haven't, wow. But also it's about a dad clownfish trying to find his baby son clownfish who gets lost in the ocean, and he meets a fish named Dory who joins him on the adventure to find his son. And Dory has a short-term memory. I forget if that's a feature of the kind of fish that she is. It might be, but it might also not be. Dory has a short-term memory, so she needs to be reminded of things constantly, or she just completely forgets it. And it's really interesting the way that they portray that in the film, and that's a part of her character. And she's a very lovable, funny, interesting, fun character, while also dealing with this relatively severe impediment to even the task that they're the course that they're on, right? Like she might just completely forget what they're doing from one minute to the next and forget that they have a goal that they're working towards. And so I feel like well, for some of you, maybe that story resonates with you. Maybe that's something that you feel like you struggle with, is remembering your goals, right? Remembering the path that you're on, remembering the things that are important, as opposed to the things that sort of get in your way, right? So setting yourself, I'm getting like the feeling of like setting up some kind of altar, or some kind of almost like an altar or something like that to your goals. I mean, to your definition of success, and it could be like a North Star, right? Something that's big picture, like something that keeps you from getting too caught up in the details, or keeps you from forgetting what path that you really want to be on and why it's so important to you. Why it's so important to you is the most important part. And so like setting up some kind of altar with images or words or objects that remind you of what's so important to you, that also you interact with daily in a different way. So it's like whether you go up and you light a candle, or you go up and you like make a little doodle or drawing, or like write something down, or like journal in that space. It's like something that keeps you coming to that space and revisiting it every day, that helps remind you why you're on this path and helps keep you on the path. It would be really helpful. Because if it's just something that's visual, sometimes you can just kind of go blind to it, like you just stop seeing it because you're just so used to, and your brain just kind of skips over it. So if it's something that you can interact with regularly, and it's in a space that you can't, it's harder to ignore, and like, you know, you have to get through the first segment of building any new habit, which is actively like remembering and making yourself sit down and do the thing until it becomes a pattern, a habit, and becomes easier. I feel like that is something that might benefit you, though, is like carving out a space and a time and an activity that you do every single day that reminds you of your goal and what's so important to you about that goal. So moving into the Page of Swords, that is a card about self-expression to me, and starting small as well, because the page is a page, right? They're not the knight, they're not the king, they're not the queen, but they are doing it nonetheless, right? The page is learning. The page, I'm thinking of the page as, and I don't even actually know if this is how it works, but I'm thinking almost like, I'm thinking actually more of a squire, I guess. Like the Knight of Swords has a squire who wants to become a knight one day, right? But is learning from the knight, and is not a knight yet. So almost like imagine this page is like a squire. So you're kind of like a squire. Consider yourself a squire of of communication, of self-expression on the level that you want to reach. And so with that, you know, you come in and you give your best, and you acknowledge and accept that your best isn't going to be up to the standards that you've set. You have a certain level of taste in terms of like how people in your field or in the thing that you want to be successful in express themselves, how you want to come across, the skill level that you want to have at the thing that you're doing. Or and this could be even just like, it doesn't have to be a literal physical skill in terms of you want to be a really good painter. It could even be like, I want to be a really good friend. I want to be successful at having good, committed, like, friendships that I feel really secure in. And being willing to show up as that page or as that squire, incomplete, not fully where you want to be, but doing it anyway. And having fun with it too, being a bit lighter with it. I feel like sometimes pages can be a really fun, lighthearted, even childlike energy that are willing to learn and willing to just kind of go for it without thinking too much about it. And so I feel like you're being encouraged to just get out there, honestly, and to be okay with starting small, taking baby steps, and knowing that each baby step will build on the one before it and will progress you a lot faster than trying to just like throw yourself out there or like make it big immediately will. You're not meant to, you might become an overnight success, but you don't need to, that's not your goal, right? I feel like there's a lot in the journey for you to learn. And so it's important for you to see even being, it's like being in the ring, like putting your hat in the ring, like putting yourself out there at all, even in the smallest way, even in a way where like maybe you feel like you embarrassed yourself, even in a way where maybe you feel like you let yourself down or you let someone else down, but like it's because you put yourself out there in the first place that you even put yourself in the position to make that quote unquote mistake, right? But the fact that you did it is more important than the outcome, because you're building that resilience and you're building that recognition that even with little mistakes or mishaps or failures or faux pas, you can still keep going. It's not going to end you. It's not going to end your career. It's not going to end your life. Like you can still go out there and keep coming back. And those little mistakes and things like that become less of a big deal. And then you realize, oh, like maybe I'm fine. I can do this, right? And that's where also strength comes in, is resilience, right? Being willing to work with the parts of you that are still hesitant, resistant, that are not maybe fully developed or fully formed, and taking them in hand and being okay with that and being excited about that, almost like a sculptor kind of like molding its clay. It's like, no, like I don't want the sculpture to just be like like a sculptor makes a sculpture because they want to go through the process of making the sculpture. If they didn't want to do that, they would just buy a sculpture already made from someone else, right? But you're in this life doing this thing, creating your success because you wanted that experience of building your success. So be an artist about it. I don't know, that's not usually an interpretation I get with the strength card, but that's kind of what I'm feeling. Like, just like this hands-on, she's like hands-on with this lion here, and she's taming it, she's teaching it. And it's kind of like you're doing the same thing with yourself and with whatever it is that you are working towards. So that brings us to the Emperor over here. This is, for you, I feel like, who you truly are, who you're growing to be. And this is another sign for you that it's not about overnight success. It's not about knowing what to do already. It's like really getting comfortable with the idea that like you are this emperor, so you're building your empire. And I feel like this Emperor, first of all, with the Judgment card, like, I feel like that's definitely about judgment in some way. Like, again, like that idea, like you might feel inhibited by other people's judgments and the judgments that you project on other people around your success, right? Like, but if you think about it, how would this Emperor deal with judgment? Like, is this Emperor going to, like, feel judged by someone else and then go like, be like, well, I guess I won't do it then. I guess I suck. I guess I'm actually the worst. I guess the thing that I made is terrible and all these people are right. Oh my God, I shouldn't have ever done this. Is the Emperor going to like just throw away all the time that they spent putting in work, learning new skills, building themselves up, being like being strong and resilient, and like, is this emperor gonna throw all that away just because someone was like, oh my god, this person sucks, they're awful? And don't get me wrong, like, I know people can be really, really, really mean, and we all can be really, really mean to ourselves and to other people too. That's, I think, a lot of why people are afraid to put themselves out there, is because sometimes it feels more comfortable to be the one sitting down judging everyone else, and then once you actually get into it, then you have to admit, oh wait, maybe I was really hard on all those people that I was judging, because this is really hard. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of have to face yourself a little bit. So there could be some of that as well, you feeling like you have to face yourself, face the judgments that you've put on other people in order to get to where you want to be. And it's like, yeah, but it's also like, it's better on the other side, don't you think? And once you're there too, you can kind of look back and be like, okay, well, I know where these people are coming from, because I know I was one of those people, and so I know it's not really personal, right? And so this emperor doesn't take it personally, is what I'm saying. With the Queen of Cups here as well, clarifying it, I feel like the emperor has a level of compassion for the parts of themselves that hold judgment, and compassion for the judgments that they receive, compassion for the emotions that they experience when they receive a judgment. There's a lot of compassion for even... I'm talking about judgment a lot of the time in the negative sense, in the sense of like people who want to tear other people down, but sometimes judgments can also... there can be constructive criticism, or there can be judgments that might be coming from a place of criticism that is not constructive. They might not be framed in the most constructive way, but sometimes they do have some nuggets of truth or nuggets of gold in them, and nonetheless. And I feel like the emperor can have compassion for that as well, like the parts of them that, the parts of the critique that actually hold important information, and then the parts that are just kind of like maybe hurting, maybe dealing with their own stuff that they're projecting onto this emperor, right? Because that's the thing. I feel like this emperor doesn't take things personally, and also doesn't take on other people's projections. You know, like someone can read their work and be like, wow, this person is a terrible person because of X, Y, and Z. And like, you'll be sitting there and you'll be like, I don't know if this person meant any of that. Like, I don't think that was the intention here. And like sometimes I get frustrated when I come across people who seem to be hell-bent on reading the worst possible take into something, like reading the worst possible intentions into like a piece of art that someone created, or into like a comment that they said, and taking like one little detail or one little thing and blowing it up into this big thing. But I understand that sometimes when you are someone who's coming from a certain background of like pain or disenfranchisement, or feeling insecure, or having dealt with certain things in your life, even little things or things that seem to be little feel really big, feel really important. And in the context of the life that you're living, it feels like a personal attack, or something that could have a really big impact on the world that you're living in. You know, someone else's work can have a big impact. So having compassion for another person's perspective that might not paint you in a good light might be understandable, though, from their perspective, but also at the same time does not have to define you or your identity or the way that you carry yourself or create. You know, like, you can hold space for someone else's experience that might not be a really like favorable one, when it might not view you in a favorable light, but at the same time realize that that's their perspective and it's not who you are. It's a projection of who they think you are that may make sense for them, but also doesn't have to be your truth, right? And there's it's not always easy to live in that space, right? But with the bottom of the deck being death over here, I mean, I feel like it just kind of sums up the whole the whole thing that we're talking about is that this is part of a big transformation for you. This is part of a transformation that you're going through. And so if it feels difficult, if it feels uncomfortable, if you feel like you're messing up, that is like, release your inhibitions around messing up. Release your inhibitions around doing the wrong thing or feeling like because something feels uncomfortable, it's wrong. No, just doing the thing, that is success for you right now. That is leading you to your success. Just doing the thing, screwing it up, making the worst possible, like, like piece of art, or saying something and realizing that, I don't know if I should have said it like that. All of that, small potatoes, important steps on your journey. Nothing goes to waste. Every single experience that you have is important for you in this transformation. And so start counting showing up as a success, and you will start to feel a lot better about the path that you're on. Yeah. And those old energies that you're ready to clear away, they will dissipate. They are dissipating. They are coming up for you to address as part of a greater transformation. They are not a sign that anything is going wrong. So anytime something like that comes up, you can even train yourself to be like, oh, I'm feeling doubt right now. Oh, I'm feeling insecure. That's a good sign. I'm on the right path, And that can also change how you frame those kinds of feelings and experiences and how you address them, which can change your whole life, right? So, before we close out, this is already longer than I wanted it to be, but it's fine because we want to cover everything. So, I'm going to read from the Huffy's booklet for this number 38, Clear Away Old Energies, just to close things out. So, number 38, Clear Away Old Energies. The green leaves grew and swayed in the wind and turned so bright from knowledge, and then returned to the holy again. All in the past is a sacred stepping stone. What did I say? Sacred. Everything that you've been through, everything that you're going through on this path is a sacred stepping stone. Even the things that feel bad, even the things that feel like you messed up. Sacred stepping stone right there. A shrine, really, to any who can see. And a broom is always near that could even sweep away a planet. It's time to clear away the old energies. Just like giving away clothes that no longer fit or clutter that no longer serves your home, so too we must clear away energies that have run their course. Forgive, especially yourself. The plates that you keep spinning over your head all the time, let them fall to the ground. Consider which ones are truly worthy of your attention and energy right now, and let all else be swept away. Yes, that makes so much sense with what we talked about, and I just feel like that's a great way to cap this off. So, yeah, self-forgiveness could be a really big part of this, especially as you put yourself out there more, forgiving yourself for even the littlest things that you are embarrassed about or just insecure about, forgiving your past self for the times that they didn't live up to your expectations or even held you back in some way, and forgiving others as well for the ways that they might mistreat you on your journey of being more seen, and letting yourself be while also letting other people have their, be themselves far away from you. So I hope this was helpful. I hope this resonated. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, if you are interested in a personal reading or hypnosis, human design with me or my mom, we work together, you can visit sunflowerphilosophy.com. In the description, we have the link in the description and the pinned comment. And thanks again. Have a wonderful life. And I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye. Hi, Group 2. If you selected the blue pencil, then you're in the right place. And this is your reading all about releasing your inhibitions. So we are going to get into what inhibitions we're releasing, or like what topic we're releasing inhibitions around, whatever wants to come through from the Thoth Tarot deck. And then we will get some advice from the Biddy Tarot deck after that. I also have this Huffy's card that I already selected, and I'm going to read that now, and then I'll read from the booklet on the card later at the end of the reading. But let's take a look. So we have for you, number 5, offer up gratitude. All right. Inhibitions. what are we talking about for group 2? So before we get into the Thoth Tarot deck and what exactly the inhibitions that you're releasing are, I want to note some impressions I got from your color pencil being blue. I chose color pencils for each of the groups for this reading because I just associate them with a form of self-expression, and I feel like releasing inhibitions is often around some form of like self-expression, but I actually feel with your blue, it's the darkest. Well, the green is also pretty dark, but to me it's like almost the most muted color in a way. The most, it's not a very bright blue, right? So I feel like there's a more muted energy here. And it also reminds me of, water, of the deep blue sea, the depths, right? So there's something, I feel like group 1 was almost more about inhibitions around being seen and being out there. And I feel like for you, there's something more internal about this. Maybe even seeing yourself or digging into your depths. Maybe there's some inhibitions around being seen deeply by others or people who you're already close with. Being seen on a deeper level, but it feels much more internal and like about your inner world, your depths, rather than being seen in the outer world, at least based on what I'm getting from this pencil right now. But we're going to pull a card to look into that more deeply. But I also feel like with this offer of gratitude card here coming up, there may be some inhibitions, and inhibitions being things that are holding you back, insecurities, things that you're like, that make you afraid to take some kind of action or be the kind of person that you want to be, things like that. I feel like there's an inhibition around maybe even feeling gratitude, or like, I feel like you might be someone who, when asked to make a gratitude list, you would feel too inhibited to do it. Like, you would feel weird about it, right? It might feel a little weird to you. It might feel a little awkward. You might feel uncomfortable, right? And so if that is you, this is definitely your reading, but if that is you, there's an inhibition there. There's something like you're too inhibited to even like feel gratitude, or to acknowledge that you're grateful for certain things, or to just like do that for yourself. Not even like if someone asked you, you might say it, but like to sit down and just for your own sake and for your own self-interest, write a gratitude list and think about the things that you're really grateful for. I feel like there's something there. Like, I feel like this wouldn't be coming up unless there was some kind of inhibition around that, which I feel like would connect with this theme that I'm getting of like an inhibition around connecting with yourself on a deeper level. So let's see what the Thoth Tarot has to say. So for group 2, can you tell us what inhibition they are releasing? Okay. Ace of Wands. Is this upright or reversed? It's kind of coming on this. I want to put it upright though, but because I actually don't know if it matters really. Ace of Wands. Okay. Interesting. So this, I feel like this, whatever inhibitions we're talking about are definitely related to creativity on some level. Creative expression maybe, but it's potentially for some people here, maybe also your sexual energy, like expressing yourself in that way. It could also be both. I'm thinking like the sacral chakra is like connected with, it's like your emotional energy. It's also your like sexual energy, your creative energy. I feel like if like one of those things is blocked, it might all be blocked. Like, I feel like almost like, yeah, we're like, it's like a triple threat here of like 3 different things that are the same thing that you feel inhibited in. Like, you feel like you can't express yourself emotionally, creatively, or sexually because all of those things are kind of like, it's like if those things are blocked, it's like by the same thing in the same way. That's what I'm feeling almost. Like, if you have difficulty tapping into your emotional truth and knowing yourself on a deep level and like understanding your emotions and your deeper thoughts and your deeper feelings about things, you might not feel comfortable with making something that means a lot to you, that you truly want, that makes you feel a lot of different things, right? Yeah, there's some discomfort with that. And you also might not be comfortable with being intimate with someone in an emotional and maybe physical way as well. on some level. Like, that's what I'm feeling here. Yeah, and that's it's like the same energy of like, and I remember too, because I remember when when journaling felt like too much for me. Like it felt so difficult to write certain things, to write certain truths out. And now even when things, like after time of just like forcing myself to do it and just practicing it and just like feeling like I had no other option of in terms of like getting certain things out that needed to come out of my head, like after doing that for a while, even when it feels difficult, even when there's things I don't really want to be honest about or write down, like it's still easier to do it than it was to journal in the first place, like back when I first started after a time of not doing it. You know what I mean? Like, and the same thing with like a practice like a spiritual practice like gratitude journaling, or like even just writing, like doing anything like this, like it's that feeling of like I can't, like taking the time, actually actively acknowledging, hey, I'm going to sit down now and make something or write something with the purpose of exploring myself on a deeper level, with the purpose of getting in touch spiritually, with the purpose of engaging in creativity on a serious level, on the purpose of getting to know myself more and like doing an act of self-love. Like that just feels so deeply uncomfortable. That's what I'm getting. And like even like part of your defense mechanism might be like, oh, like a gratitude journal, that feels like really hokey, you know, that feels like really like some like empty hippie bullshit nonsense, which that might be too extreme for some of you, but maybe some of you do feel that way. Maybe you don't even want to feel that way, but that could be some of what comes into your head when you try to do that, or when you think about doing that, or you're just like, oh no, like that's not for me, I wouldn't do that. No, like I wouldn't journal or learn about myself. I don't do that, you know? It just feels like shutting that down. But meanwhile, that's actually a symptom of this like greater creative, energetic, emotional blockage that we're releasing. I feel like you are ready to release that on some degree, and how you do it can vary from person to person, but knowing that that is on the table here, that is what we're talking about. Well, I guess let's get into your cards. Let's see. How can you release these inhibitions that you have around, like, I feel like knowing yourself on a deeper level, on engaging with the world on a more spiritual level, and maybe even for some of you, like making a creative project, writing a story, or like not, this isn't even about other people engaging with your creativity. It's like you engaging with creativity just for the sake of it, just to explore yourself, just for the sake of self-exploration, just to get things out of yourself. Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. And again, this can relate to intimate relationships as well. Because I do feel like if there is anything that you are sharing with other people in this case, it would at least first and foremost be with people who are already close with you on some level. It's like getting to a level of deeper closeness with those people, because you're also coming to a level of deeper closeness with yourself. And it's kind of like the idea that you can only meet people on as deep a level as you're willing to meet yourself, and vice versa. It's like you're ready, you have like inhibitions around meeting yourself on a deeper level that are ready to be released here. So yeah, so how are we doing that? How is group 2 releasing their inhibitions? How can they release their inhibitions around this like creative energy, this emotional energy, this physical energy? How are we releasing that? So we have the 3 of Wands, the Queen of Pentacles, the Knight of Wands, the 7 of Pentacles, and one more card, please. How can group 2 release their inhibitions around their creative, sexual, emotional energy? Whatever all this is. Okay, so we have, all right, let's see. We have the 3 of Wands, the Queen of Pentacles, Knight of Wands, 7 of Pentacles, 3 of Cups, and the Magician on the bottom of the deck. Okay. 3 of Wands. What is this 3 of Wands about? Okay. I almost feel like the Three of Wands here is somehow, it's about like acknowledging the processes that you've already set in motion, like acknowledging the progress that you've already made. I feel like because this guy with the Three of Wands is watching, either watching his ships come in or watching his ships go out. Like, he's set something in motion and he's watching it from afar. Perhaps for some of you, it's like taking a step back from the canvas after you've been working on it for a while to get a view of it, like a bigger picture view, and see, okay, like, oh, well, and see the progress that you made. Almost, but from the, not like, sometimes you do that from a really detached space of like, oh, I just need to get a bigger picture view so I can see where to work on this next. I feel like this is almost you stepping back from the canvas in order to see that you've actually made progress and things are actually shifting and changing for you already. Like, that's almost what I'm feeling. It's like looking out on the horizon and seeing your ships coming in, seeing like, oh wait, like I've actually already taken steps in this direction. It's feeling to me like you have been, consciously or not, like working on knowing yourself, getting to know yourself on a deeper level, working on engaging with creativity on a deeper level, like working on being willing to explore your depths. Like, I feel like that's already been happening for you. And part of you releasing your inhibitions around this further is acknowledging the progress you've already made. Because it's almost a little bit like I'm getting like this. I've gotten this kind of like metaphor before, maybe just for me in my own readings, but like of running a race and like you're like, I gotta try really hard, I have so far to go, but then you like look back and you didn't even realize you passed like a really significant mile marker. Like, you thought that there was so much further to go than there actually is. That's kind of what I'm getting. Like, even with the Three of Wands, like I almost feel like your ships are like coming in a lot sooner than you thought. That's what, interesting. Yeah. So I feel like you've already made progress in this area, and there might be some tendency to discount that or to not really recognize it for what it is. But once you do, it empowers you to keep going because you realize, oh wait, I've already been on this path already. Like, I've already started. I've already had success here. I can keep going. I can start the next level, basically. Like, I can go deeper. I've already started to explore the depths here. I can go deeper now. Like, I know that I'm capable of it. Interesting. So with the Queen of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles, this could represent a person in your life, a feminine figure, perhaps. But it could also represent the energy or the act of like nurturing, of caring for, of taking care of your physical environment and your physical health. Interesting. For some of you, only take this as if it resonates. It's almost like taking care of, like, I don't know, like a pet or plants or something like that would be helpful for you. It's almost like, or taking care of taking better care of an existing creative project that you're already in the middle of, or something that you maybe stopped doing a while ago but like want to revisit again. It's like taking care of it just for the sake of it, not necessarily because you have a specific goal with it. It's how do I want to say this? It's almost like the act of like gently nurturing yourself or another being or a project just for the sake of taking care of it, just because you want to take care of it, take care of you, take care of the thing, take care of the project. It's like that feels really vulnerable for you. That might feel a little bit like almost like that same like it gets you too close to your emotions, like too close to your deeper feelings, and it feels uncomfortable. But I feel like that is a step in this process of letting yourself feel vulnerable by taking care of and caring for yourself and or another being, like with tenderness and gentleness, you know? It's like, ooh. But I feel like that helps you get closer to like yourself almost. Yeah. And I'm getting almost like the feeling of like, okay, like someone who wants to take care of things or people in their life. Maybe like you want to, easy example, like you want to have kids, right? You want to have kids, but you maybe don't feel like a very nurturing person, right? And maybe you're really uncomfortable. Like you, like in theory, you're like, I really want to have kids, but you're also like, at present, I'm not sure if I'm capable of taking care of something, like of providing a good environment, of taking good care of something. I don't know if I believe in myself in that degree, and I also am kind of uncomfortable with the idea of exploring it, right? Like you know that it's something that you want on some level, but you're not sure how you're gonna get there. Like you're not sure how you're gonna be that person because you don't see that in you right now. First of all, I think you already are that person and you're on that path. And so I feel like this Three of Wands is reminding you to look at the ways that you've already succeeded at doing that and being nurturing and caring for other people in your life or beings or whatever, or yourself. The Queen of Pentacles is like actively practicing that at different levels. So it's like maybe first you get some plants and like they're maybe easy to take care of, right? And then you're like, maybe I can like, okay, cool, like I succeeded, like I feel comfortable with this. Maybe I want to get a little bit more of a difficult plant to take care of, and that takes more of my time and attention and energy, and commit to that and see how I do. And maybe I feel ready to get a pet. Like maybe I'm ready for that commitment. Like maybe I'm a little nervous about it, but I really want to, and I want to provide a good environment, and I feel like I could be dedicated to taking care of this pet, and have faith in myself that I can do this, and maybe that's your next step, right? And it doesn't have to be the most difficult pet to take care of, right? It can be something where like you'll do your best, but it's something that feels manageable to you, right? And like sort of upping the ante from there. And I mean, like I know with this example, like it's not because like plants or pets or anything are not are expendable or are meant to be experimented on. It's more like it's something that you already want to do, and you're trusting yourself to do it, and you're putting yourself up to that task, and you're realizing that like you are someone who has that in you, you're capable of that. And so you're allowing yourself to have that experience, to trust yourself to do that, and challenge yourself to do that, knowing that you can, knowing that you're committed to it, and also because you know that you're ready for that step, like that's your next step. And also knowing that the experience itself will give you even more of a foundation to then take care of children one day, that kind of thing. Which again, that's just a metaphor for whatever situation that you are dealing with, but it's like, yeah, like upping the ante in terms of how you take care of yourself and take care of your projects and take care of the things and people that mean a lot to you, just for the sake of you learning, of you becoming more comfortable with the vulnerability that brings out in you, right? Because like it feels vulnerable sometimes to be like attentive and gentle with something, but also to have something to take care of or someone to take care of, like that feels vulnerable. Yeah, it can be a little scary. And then with the Knight of Wands here, I feel like another way that we are releasing your inhibitions around creativity and around your, like knowing yourself, and it's like almost like, I feel like the Knight of Wands, it's giving into more of your impulsivity, your action taking, being a little bit more comfortable, or at least willing to engage with your impulses, engage with your creative impulses, engage with even like your physical impulses, right? Not to a self-destructive degree, but to almost, I feel like for some of you, you might have been too restrained with yourself in the past, right? If you're like too afraid to know yourself on a deeper level, to acknowledge some of your deeper desires and wants and fears and all those kinds of things, you also might be more uncomfortable with your certain impulses, certain creative impulses, some certain desires, right? This is opening you up to be more playful about that, to charge in a little bit more without thinking so much about it, right? To not hold back as much. You know, the Knight of Wands just goes for it. This is also courage. And this is acknowledging, I feel like with all the wands here as well, this is acknowledging that taking action, because this is also, yeah, you might be inhibited around taking action because of the, yeah, okay. This is acknowledging that it takes courage to initiate something, to take the first step, to take an action, to make a move towards something. The Knight of Wands is encouraging you to embrace courage and to understand that courage in the moment isn't necessarily going to feel good all the time. Like, it's going to feel like, oh my God, I'm so afraid, but I'm doing it anyway, right? Like, I feel like a mess. I feel like this is not working. This feels really bad. But it's only because you're afraid and you're feeling that fear within you and you're doing it anyway, right? And similar to something that came up in group 1, but it's the importance of doing the thing anyway. And the measure of the success of the thing that you do is not in the outcome of the thing, it's the fact that you did it. Like, it's you taking the initiative, it's you taking that step, it's you charging in, being willing to engage where you might have previously shut down or counted yourself out. And so that's what we're doing here, is we're embracing the courage to charge in. It's interesting because I'm getting Can't Help Falling in Love by Elvis Presley, which came up in a short that I put out recently as well. And I'm getting the line, only fools rush in. And in the short that I got that in, I almost felt like it was cautioning, like, you know, no need to rush to a situation. Like, you don't have to rush. And it felt like on a broader scale, like, you know, someone feeling like they need to be ahead of where they are right now, but it's like, no, there's no rush to get to where you want to be. In this case, I'm getting more of the original meaning from the song, which is he's saying only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. So it's like I know wise men say that only fools rush in, but I can't help, you know, falling in love with you. It's like almost like for you is kind of taking that idea into account of like, where you might have stopped yourself because you might be afraid to rush in, or you might be inhibiting yourself from taking action in some way because you're like, oh, I can't, like, you know, I can't rush in, I can't be too quick. It's like, on some level that stops being wisdom and starts being like something that stops you from doing anything ever, right? And so I feel like for you, it's recognizing where it's okay sometimes to rush in. It's okay for you to just go for it, you know? Yeah. And it's interesting because then we have the Seven of Pentacles here. And that can be, sometimes I get the word patience with that. I feel like in this case, that really brings me back to the offer up gratitude card that you have over there. I was thinking about how this person is gazing down at their pentacles. And to me, I often interpret it as just like appreciating them, right? Appreciating the things that they've made and the things that they've cultivated and grown. And so, yeah, I feel like very simply, for some of you, even if it feels uncomfortable, engaging with a little gratitude practice might actually be the ticket for you. Again, similar to with this Three of Wands, being able to look at the things that you've already accomplished and achieved and the action that you've already taken towards your goals, or towards knowing yourself on a deeper level, or towards unblocking your creativity, towards being willing to act, and counting those as achievements and appreciating those moments. And then also just on some level appreciating life, appreciating who you are, appreciating the things you have to offer, appreciating the people in your life, the things that you have, you know, and making a like regular effort to write that down physically somewhere, to consciously experience that gratitude, to consciously acknowledge that gratitude on a regular basis, instead of just like every so often of being like, oh yeah, you know what, I really am grateful for this. Like, you probably are, but engaging with it on a regular like basis, it can work that muscle. It can help you also like become more aware of how you really feel, and notice where you're at. Like, honestly, just noticing what you're actually feeling in a given moment, you know, even if it's not gratitude, and just being like, okay, and what is it I feel, and why don't I feel that way, and being willing to ask those questions and be curious about it, right? Knowing that you're brave enough to handle anything that comes up. I feel like for some of you, there's some fear of seeing yourself, of really knowing yourself on a deeper level. And it's like, also having gratitude for all the like intricate different parts of you that exist that might sometimes feel frustrating to you, or you might have been ashamed of, or might not always be accepted by others, and then starting to like count your blessings, count them as your blessings, count yourself as a blessing, and start to shift your viewpoint on all the little like different nuggets of your personality that you uncover, right? And then with the Three of Cups at the end here, I definitely feel like this has to do with friendships. So I feel like engaging with people that you love, especially friends that you take joy in, other relationships in your life that are just fun for you. Maybe, just taking a sip of water over here. Maybe for some of you, you have people who you want to share more of yourself with, or share on a deeper level. There might be some people in your life who feel like a more comfortable place to start than others, so you can start there, right? Maybe even sharing your goals, like if you have a specific creative goal, or if you have like an insecurity or a thing that you want to do related to like your emotions, getting to know yourself better, or even like related to like physical intimacy, things like that. Like cluing people in that you trust, that can that you can maybe talk to about this, bounce ideas off of, even do certain kinds of exercises with, who would be open to doing like a self-exploration exercise with you, or doing like a little creative club together. Yeah, like getting together with friends who are similarly creative and have similar goals in that area, or have similar goals in terms of self-exploration, you know what I mean? But even just the act of having fun and getting out there is useful. And with the Magician on the bottom of the deck, the Magician is someone who has all the tools they need. And I feel like that is also something that this is about, is counting your blessings, counting your, it's like counting, okay, now I'm getting the specific example of like, when you're playing a video game and you have like an inventory of, okay, interesting. You have like an inventory of items that you've picked up along your way. And okay, yeah. It's almost like, I feel like it's this feeling like you have a huge inventory of tools, of wisdom, of things, of people even in your inventory that you could utilize to help you. And it's a matter of, first of all, recognizing them, appreciating them, having gratitude for them, and also being willing to use them. Right? Like the things that you're collecting are not meant to sit in your inventory. You're collecting them because they are useful tools that you're meant to use, right? So if you've engaged with a lot of like ideas about self-help or spirituality or creativity or like relationships or physical intimacy, whatever it is that's really stifled by this, like, I feel like creative block that you're experiencing, you realizing, okay, I have all these tools now. It's time for me to use them. I collected them for a reason, right? It's like you're in the action taking portion of this journey, right? And so you just know that there's no more tools that you need to collect. Like there might be you might feel inhibited by this feeling of like, I don't know enough. I don't have enough information. I don't have all the tools. I don't have everything I need, right? Like what if there's something I'm missing that is the key piece of information, and I can't start until I have that, information. Like I can't be fully whole, or I can't take the next step, or I can't take this action until I have that. No, it's like you have all the tools. You've studied enough. You've gathered enough. You're ready to put them to use. Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. And I feel like part of this gratitude practice might also be like taking inventory of the things that you've collected and gathered over time, so that you recognize, oh, this is what I have. This is how I can use it. And so you know that you also can recognize how prepared you already are for the next step, for taking action in some way. Yeah. And moral support. friends, sharing with people your goals, the things that you want to do, and being like, hey, can you help me with this? Hey, I'm not sure about this. Like, can we work together on this? Maybe, you know? Yeah. And even starting small there, but knowing that every time that you open up in a way that makes you uncomfortable, even if it's small, it helps increase your courage to continue opening up in ways that will feel bigger in the long run, and will have a big impact on your life and how you show up for yourself and for others. So, without further ado, I'm going to read the excerpt from the booklet on the Offer Up Gratitude card over here to close this out. So, let's see. 5. Offer up gratitude. I like when the dawn or a tree so touches my heart, my eyes fill with tears and thanks. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I feel like there's a discomfort with emotion that you're working through right now, that is related to whatever it is that you're looking to take action on or create in your life. Whatever is going on right now, give thanks for it. Even if it's a crisis that stripped your heart bare, you can't see it now, but it's all happening for you. You've survived 100% of all your blessings and traumas to date, and all of them have created a unique force field that wouldn't exist without your journey. And gratitude expands that force field. Use it to manifest a life of wonder. Yeah, so that's like, yeah, taking stock of all the tools, all the experiences, all the blessings, all the even things that were difficult that you've encountered in your life that have given you something that you've learned from, that you've collected, and yeah, taking them into account when you move forward, knowing that like you have all this in your back pocket that you can use now in your real life, doing real things with them. Yeah. It's time to put stuff into action. That's what I'm feeling like for this group. And hopefully this reading will help you release your inhibitions around taking action in some way. And yeah, exciting. Okay. So that's all we've got. Thank you so much for watching. If you are interested in a personal reading or in hypnosis or human design, we do offer those on our website, sunflowerphilosophy.com. I work with my mom, so if you're interested in those services that we offer, links are in the description and the pinned comment. Please like, comment, subscribe. I would love to hear how this resonated for you. And thanks again. Have a wonderful life. I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye. Hi, Group 3. If you selected the yellow pencil, then you're in the right place, and this is your reading all about inhibitions that you are ready to release. So, I did pull this Hafiz card ahead of time. I'll flip that over in a moment, but in this reading, we will get a card from the Thoth Tarot deck to represent an inhibition that you're ready to release. So inhibition being like an insecurity or fear or anything that is holding you back, basically, from something that you want. And then I will get some more cards from the Biddy Tarot deck to get advice for how to release that inhibition. So let's first flip over your Hafiz card. So we have number 32 with practice tenderness. Hummingbirds could be significant for this group. And there's a booklet that came with those cards that I will read at the end of the reading. I'll just read what the booklet says for this card. But for right now, let's get into it. So first things first, I started off with each group talking a little bit about the color pencil and what the color that I chose for each group is giving me, like the vibes it's giving me. For your group, you know what? I wasn't getting as much from this color pencil. Like I didn't have an immediate impression. But I will say that yellow, I often associate with joy, excitement, happiness. But I also feel like with practice tenderness over here, maybe for some of this group, there could be some inhibitions or discomfort around emotions that feel a little bit less acceptable or less easy or less palatable. Like there might be a tendency towards wanting to be excited and joyful and happy all the time. And there might be some difficulty with embracing and having tenderness for the less easy to accept, more maligned emotions and emotional expressions and experiences that we can have as human beings, like anger, jealousy, resentment, bitterness, sadness, disgust, things like that. So that could be relevant for some people here, but I, more than even the other groups, I'm definitely intrigued to see what the tarot card that comes out will tell us, because I'm not 100% sure quite yet what all this group is all about. So I'm just taking a sip of my water and let's get into it. Okay. So for group 3, what is group 3's inhibition that they're ready to let go of? Interesting. These both came out in reverse. Yeah, we're going to keep them in reverse. So we have the 6 of Cups in reverse and the Emperor in reverse. And that the keyword for the 6 of Cups in this deck is pleasure. So, inhibitions around control and pleasure? Interesting. We're releasing control of our pleasure. We're releasing control of... This one is interesting. I kind of want to, let me switch these places. Switch the Emperor and the 6 of Cups. I feel like this does kind of relate to what I was getting before with the pencil and the practice tenderness card. Almost like, I'm feeling like for this group, there's this desire to get back to a time that was happier and to have more control over your happiness. And I almost feel like there's an inhibition for you around expressing emotions that aren't happiness, whether with others, but also maybe even within yourself. Like you're inhibited in your emotional experience. It's a bit different from group 2, where I feel like group 2 was also about like exploring their emotional depths and maybe even tapping into their emotions. And maybe some people from group 2 are also here, and maybe also group 2 has some messages for you. I feel like this can be part of the same journey almost, but this feels much more specifically targeted towards like a discomfort and inhibition around the full range of emotional experience that you can have, and how you express those. Yeah. And like, yeah, and wanting to be in control of them almost. Interesting. Yeah. And for some of you as well, there could be some inhibitions around things of the past that you feel like keep you from reaching your full potential in the present. Like a lot of the things that you've been through in the past, specific memories that you have or actions that you've taken, you feel like that will hold you back from your full potential now. Because it's like you keep returning to those memories and replaying them, and that stops you from like taking an action or feeling confident in your present. Which that also brings me back to a bit of group 1 as well. So there could be messages there, but it's still different. It's still different vibes. Interesting. This one is a little less straightforward, and I feel like it's almost like you're someone who would prefer if things were straightforward, and that's part of your discomfort here. But let's get into the tarot cards, honestly. Group 3. How can group 3 release these inhibitions linked to their complicated emotional experiences and to their past? How can they release these inhibitions, please? How can group 3 release their inhibitions? Whoa, okay, these all came out together, but I'm going to take them. We have the King of Cups, the 3 of Pentacles, the Knight of Cups, the 10 of Pentacles, and I'm going to get one more card. How can group 3 release their inhibitions? How can group 3 release their inhibitions? Okay. Judgment. And the Page of Swords is on the bottom of the deck. Interesting. Okay. King of Cups. I feel like this King of Cups here represents you, potentially. I feel like this King of Cups is looking at all of these things. Specifically the 3 of Pentacles, Knight of Cups, and 10 of Pentacles, because those all came out at the same time. They came out underneath the King of Cups. The Judgment card we got later. But, and it's right, it's the underneath the Practice Tenderness card. Yeah, there's like an emotional maturity here. There's a message that emotional maturity has been coming up a lot in recent readings, but there's a message about emotional maturity here. Like, maybe releasing your inhibitions around your like new, expressing yourself in like a new emotionally mature way. It's almost feeling like you feel like in the past, it's almost like you keenly recall a time when you felt like you were less emotionally mature. And maybe that came out in controlling tendencies. Maybe it came out in an unwillingness to accept deeper emotions in yourself and in others, and wanting to control other people's emotions, wanting to control your own emotions, wanting to control situations, just feeling generally not in control when things got too emotional. And now you've kind of grown, and I feel like you're maybe working on expressing yourself now in an emotionally mature way, because you feel like maybe other people don't expect you to be, like maybe you've changed as a person, and people around you don't expect you to be the person that you are. Like they don't expect you to handle things well, or handle things in a way that they consider well, or you consider well. And you feel almost inhibited by other people's expectations of like a past version of you that is no longer really who you are. And you might feel this could be because other people actively maybe distrust you, or in some cases might be, they might not have, like you've grown, but they haven't. And so they might still interact with you and the world on the level that you used to, that you've grown out of. And so interacting with them is kind of like, how do I be this new person, right? That I am. It won't like make sense with our old dynamic. It won't make sense to this person. But it could also be other people like came to expect certain behavior from you that you just don't want to exhibit anymore. And like, they might have trouble accepting and understanding that like, this is the new you, this is who you are. And, or you just feel almost like a hypocrite because you're like just different now, and you feel like weird about that. It's like you might feel weird that you are the person that you are now when you remember the person that you used to be, and you almost feel like you can't be that person because you feel like you're not allowed to have changed. But you most certainly are. And I think one way that you're meant to start releasing your inhibitions around this is to actually share the journey that you've been on with other people. Possibly also connect with others who have been on a similar journey. I feel like this is really about self-growth and self-awareness. And yeah, there might be some people in your life that you can actually open up to and be like, hey, so I'm actually working on being a different person. I have different standards for myself now. I have different expectations of how I want to interact with myself and the world. And here's what's been going on. Like, can you work with me on this kind of thing? But it can also be, for some of you, teaching some of what you've learned to other people might be part of releasing your inhibitions about who you used to be. Like using your experience as a teaching opportunity for other people. So you can, which will help you frame your past self in a more compassionate light, because you are bringing your journey to people who are closer to who you used to be, and you're able to see them in a compassionate light, but you're also able to detach a bit from your story and to view it from the lens of like, okay, like this is where I was, this is where I am now, and this is how I got here, without judging it, right? Because with judgment coming out on the end here, I feel like this is all about like how you judge your past self and how you judge your emotions or have in the past. And so I feel like I feel like for a lot of you, like you already are this person who has this emotional understanding, and it's almost like in the teaching of that and sharing of that with other people, you gain an even deeper sense of emotional maturity. Like you expand beyond just this self-awareness into this actual practice of it, where not only are you more accepting of like the wide range of human emotion and experience in yourself and others, but you're also, not only are you accepting this in others, you're also accepting of it in yourself, and you're also accepting of your past self who was at a different place. I feel like this Knight of Cups could even represent a version of you as you existed previously that was a little bit more, that was at an earlier stage of your journey that you might have difficulty accepting, almost like a teenage version of you, or like maybe metaphorically a teenage version of you. You know, maybe you weren't a teenager when you feel like you weren't quite emotionally mature, but it was a stage of your life where you were still growing in that area. And looking back and understanding the benefits of being at that stage and how that stage led you to the stage where you are now. So you're not looking back with a critical eye, you're looking back and being like, what were the strengths of that version of me, right? You're looking back and being like, why was that version of me actually really wise? Why was that version of me actually one to be admired, just as they were? And what parts of that version of me have I carried forward and do I take with me into this day? And what parts did I simply grow out of? No judgment, you know? And with the Ten of Pentacles here, I feel like this is also taking, it's almost like looking back. Oh, you know what I feel like this Ten of Pentacles is? It's okay, so the Knight of Cups to me is like looking back into and embodying maybe a past version of you that you weren't always so proud of, but learning to see the strengths and the wisdom of that part of you, and learning to humanize that part of you again. Maybe even doing a meditation where you step into that person again and view your current life and your current self from their eyes, and vice versa. The Ten of Pentacles is almost like the opposite of like going into the future, into your future self, into the version of you, no matter how old you are now, you know, going into the oldest possible version of yourself that you feel like you can connect with, and looking back from their eyes on you now and you in the past. And how do they see you now? How do they see you in the past that you have trouble reconciling with? Yeah, viewing you now from a future version of you who, if you really settle into meditation, like you can tap into that energy, you can tap into that, your imagination of like who you will be and how you will see the world. And it might surprise you, honestly. Because remember, when you're doing this practice, you are attempting to tap into a part of you that doesn't technically exist yet in the time-space moment that you are inhabiting at this time. But it does exist in the sense that like, what is even reality? And time and space don't really exist. So like you already have that experience and you already are that person on somewhere in the present moment, but it's not present. You know what I mean? Physics, I don't know, it's weird. But the point is like, be open to some unexpected elements of that perspective to come through, and recognize that you can bring that in now, and that can help you get a perspective on who you are now as well, understanding that you will continue to learn and grow. You don't always have to look back on your past versions of yourselves as incomplete or stupid or silly or anything like that. That's kind of what I'm feeling. Like I'm feeling there's like inhibitions around like who you used to be as opposed to who you are now. And practice tenderness, going back to your Hafiz card, is kind of all about learning to have tenderness for those past versions of you, understanding that you today will continue to one day be a past version of you. And so like considering yourself as like the wisest, oldest version of you possible that you could be, how will that person look at you from the past, right? Like, will they, like, I'm getting right now, like, I'm feeling like this like tenderness that this old version of you has for past versions of you. This feeling of like, oh, I remember when I felt that way. Oh, I remember what that was like. Oh, yeah. And appreciating all those different times of your life and what you had and who you were and who you had around you and the time that you spent with people who maybe aren't any longer in your life, the time that you had in a certain house or a certain location, the things that you would actually remember and pick up on that are most important to your old self that might differ from what is important to your present self, and gaining a sense of perspective through that kind of practice. You could also journal about it as well. If, a meditation or visualization isn't really working, you could start by writing a letter to yourself from all these different stages in your life, right? So writing a letter from your present self to your past self, present self to your future self, from your future self to your present self, from your future self to your past self, all of that. That could be a really interesting experience for you that will help you let go of some of this, I feel like, past shame and just like feelings of like discomfort with who you were, especially emotionally, like in how you experience your emotions and how you maybe express them. And even like your past, like your experience of feeling shame around your emotions too as well. Because you might be at a stage where you feel much more competent in that area. You feel much more educated and you feel much more in control. But yeah, you're just struggling to like accept that it's okay to be different than you used to be, and that you don't have to look back on past you with the same judgment that past you has looked back on past you with, you know what I mean? And with the Page of Swords here as well, I almost feel like that is letting me know that you might be at a stage where you feel like you've matured a lot and you've grown a lot, but it's on the inside. And you're having trouble connecting your inner experience with your outer expression, right? And that goes back to what I was saying in the beginning about maybe like not really being sure how to express yourself around people who might expect a past version of you in one way or another, right? Like feeling like you're not showing up physically as the person that you feel like you are on the inside. And this is a feeling as well of being able to have compassion and tenderness for the you that is still learning, right? Like you are older and wiser and more mature, but it might take some time for you to know and understand how to implement that, how to experience that in your in situations and in relationships in your life. And it's okay to be this Page of Swords. It's okay to be this like still growing young version of you that like doesn't know how to communicate the wisdom that you've gathered, or doesn't know how to communicate the new emotional understanding that you have cultivated within yourself, right? And allowing yourself to slowly show up differently day by day and understand that it doesn't have to happen all at once, that who you are on the inside will show on the outside, and you will never stop growing. So if you can, like, I feel like you see yourself as this King of Cups, but you feel like you come across as this Page of Swords. Like you see yourself as the King of Cups, like emotionally mature, and like you understand certain things, you know better, right? You know better inside. Like you know how you want to respond to things in life. You know how you want to communicate and express yourself. But when it comes to this Page of Swords, when it comes to you being actually out there expressing yourself, you feel like you still maybe hold back at times when you want to actually express yourself, or you feel like you, like out of insecurity, out of an old habit of doing that. You still like maybe say the same things that you used to about yourself that put yourself down, but you don't actually believe that anymore. It's just a habit, right? And maybe you still hold back in conversations where you now really want to contribute more, or you still like default to certain ways of thinking around certain people just because that's what you're used to, but it's not really how you feel anymore. And like you just feel like there's just that awkward dissonance that you don't always like, you can't always close that gap. Yeah. And that's okay. That's okay. Practice tenderness with yourself in those moments. See yourself as a little baby bird that's still growing, still learning, and imagine that all these different versions of you, the older and the younger and the ancient, all exist at the same time. And so, like, you're all working together, right? And so maybe the younger version of you is still showing up on the outside, but the older version of you is coming through on the inside to help guide you. That doesn't mean you have to judge yourself harshly. It's more like, I'm getting like Uncle Iroh from Avatar: The Last Airbender, and honestly, like, I've never really watched that show. Like, I've seen some episodes, but I've never really watched that show, so that might be significant for some of you. But it's giving like, almost like if Iroh and Zuko were part of the same person, right? Like, you've got your Iroh persona, you've got your Zuko persona. Like, it's like there's an Uncle Iroh within you who knows better, and then there's the Zuko who like lashes out and gets defensive and like doesn't understand all of the wise lessons that Uncle Iroh is trying to teach him. But like, Uncle Iroh has so much compassion for Zuko, right? And believes in him, right? And it's kind of like you can be that person for yourself, right? For all versions of yourself. Yeah. And so like, channel your inner Uncle Iroh when you're not really behaving in the way that you want to behave and expressing yourself in that way, and have compassion and wisdom for yourself, and allow yourself to mess up, and allow yourself to not live up to your standards, and allow yourself to still have room to grow, and be there with yourself every step of the way. And hey, Zuko gets there eventually, you know? So you will too. And you'll feel more at one with yourself. You'll feel more connected with yourself. You'll feel like how you feel on the inside is more of how you express yourself on the outside. But just give yourself time to grow. Give yourself time to close that gap, and go easy on yourself throughout that process. Okay, so to close it out, I'm going to just read from the booklet on Practice Tenderness from the Hafiz, Wisdom of Hafiz booklet. So let's see, number 32. All right, number 32, Practice Tenderness. Tenderness is what I am when my heart governs and I realize how much so many in this world have suffered. It is in your best interest to be very tender with yourself and with all of life. Vulnerability doesn't keep us safe, but it does keep us open, and an open heart is one of the strongest, most powerful tools in the world. Cultivate a practice of self-compassion and tenderness towards all of life in order to become more like the friend who created you. Yeah, a sense of compassion towards self. And I did, the way that I was talking, I feel like I get the sense that a lot of this group has achieved a little bit more of compassion towards others than self-compassion. I mean, you might struggle with both. Maybe you also struggle with compassion for yourself when you're not feeling so compassionate for other people, right? Like, you feel, you know, maybe you're feeling a little bit of like frustration or resentment, or just like, ugh, like, why can't this person get this already, or whatever. And then you also feel bad about yourself feeling that way. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the cycle that I was getting, that you might get stuck in from time to time. But yeah, this is reminding you to practice tenderness with yourself and others, and step away and look at the big picture of like just how much that you and so many people have to deal with in life. It's okay, you know, if sometimes you're not always the most gracious, the most happy, the most compassionate, the most, you know, all the good things, all the things that people want to be, right? Or that maybe not everyone wants to be, but a lot of people want to be, maybe what you want to be. It's okay that you're not always that person, you know? Sometimes we need to take our turns, right? So I hope this was helpful. I hope you got something out of this. Thank you so much for watching. And if you're interested in a personal reading, we do offer those on our website, as well as hypnosis and human design services. I work with my mom, by the way. That's the we that I'm talking about. And our website, sunflowerphilosophy.com, is in the description if you want to check that out, or the pinned comment. Also, like, comment, subscribe. Please let me know how this resonated. I would love to hear it. And thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful life, and I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye! Hi Group 4, if you selected the green pencil, then you're in the right place, and this is your reading all about releasing inhibitions. And by inhibitions, I mean anything that's holding you back from things that you want, just holding you back from living your life to the best of your ability, things like that. So I did pre-pull a Hafiz card. I'll flip that over in a moment, but I'm going to also get a card to let me know what inhibition that you're ready to release right now. And then we'll pull more tarot cards to find out how you can release those inhibitions. So to start, your Hafiz card is number 15, Pause for Reflection. And I'm going to read the booklet for that card later. I have been ending the readings doing that. But just to get started before I even pull a tarot card for you guys, just looking at the this card and your color pencil, there's definitely, I'm getting like nature vibes with the green and just with the flowers in Pause for Reflection and the way that the like sort of, I don't know, moon flower face thing is looking down at the little flowers. I don't know. So nature could be important here as well, but I also like green to me is a very serene, calm color in a lot of ways. Nature for me is a very meditative, serene space to be in. So getting out in nature could be significant for some of you, but yeah, I feel like there's some kind of inhibition here coming up. There's some kind of significance to pausing, to taking a moment, to maybe even being in reflection or sitting in silence. There's some kind of inhibition possibly around silence or meditation or just being quiet or being with yourself. There could also be something around, when I was first started this reading, I had to stop because one of my glasses lenses fell out, which has been happening lately, but just the fact that it fell out right as I was starting your reading, that also could be significant in terms of like there might be something that you're not seeing completely clearly, or you're not seeing both sides of the story or something like that, because like I couldn't see out of one eye when that happened. So yeah, but kind of like with Group 3, I feel like we're going to get more information once we get into the cards. So let's get into your tarot card for what inhibitions we are releasing, or what are we releasing inhibitions around in your life. Let's see. What inhibitions is Group 4 releasing now? Prince of Discs, Prince of Pentacles. Interesting. Prince of Pentacles. So yeah, earthy energy is definitely important here with Pentacles coming out and the green and the flowers, and it's just giving Taurus as well with the bull here. Prince of Pentacles. So the Prince of Discs in this deck, sometimes I also align them with the King of Pentacles, because there's no kings in this deck. There's princesses, and that those princesses are kind of in the place of the page, and there's queens. So, and there's also knights. So I feel like the princes can kind of be like the King of Pentacles a little bit, but I feel like this is definitely around the physical realm. There's some inhibitions that you might have. This could be inhibitions around your physical body. It could also have to do with inhibitions around your financial status and your wealth. Like that's the two major things that I'm getting here, especially maybe body, honestly, because I'm just keep being drawn to have the Prince of Pentacles here is pretty sure he's naked. So like, and just with nature and physicality and like the 3D realm, the body is so important to that. And I just, yeah, that's what I'm getting here. But I feel like we're gonna, yeah. And pause for reflection. There might be a discomfort around reflecting on, Okay, it could be literally for some of you just like being not even really being comfortable looking at your reflection or seeing yourself in the mirror. Literally like, and if it's not exactly that, maybe seeing yourself in photos, maybe just like paying attention to your body at all, your physical appearance, that might be where you have a lot of inhibitions. That's okay. Yeah, so let's get some tarot cards to further clarify and get information on how you can release these inhibitions. So how can group 4 release these inhibitions? How can group 4 release these inhibitions? Page of Swords. Wow, that Page of Swords is coming out in like almost every group. Is this upright or reversed? Upright, okay. 7 of Swords. Knight of Swords. Wow. Okay. Lots of swords. And then these 3 cards all came out together. We have the Star, the Sun, and the Hanged Man. And actually, and the Magician on the bottom of the deck. The Magician was on the bottom of the deck in group 2, I believe. These all came out together, so I'm going to keep them together. I'm going to keep them next to each other. Okay, interesting. Okay, Page of Swords, 7 of Swords, Knight of Swords. And it's so weird. I'm looking, okay. So looking at the 7 of Swords, the Page of Swords, 7 of Swords, Knight of Swords, it almost feels like the 7 of Swords guy is running towards the Page of Swords. The Page of Swords is looking off to the side. The Page of Swords doesn't even see the 7 of Swords coming. And the Knight of Swords is chasing after the 7 of Swords. The 7 of Swords is running away from the Knight. Like, that's a story that I feel like we have going on here. Or it's like the Page of Swords is looking the other way from the deceit of the 7 of Swords, and the Knight of Swords is running right at it. That's what I'm feeling. No, you know what it is? The Page of Swords and the 7 of Swords are working together. The Page is the 7 of Swords look at. But the Page doesn't see that the Knight of Swords is coming for the 7 of Swords over here. Like, the Knight of Swords spotted this. this deception. I'm getting the storyline of, like, the Page and the 7 are working together to steal these swords and run away. And the Knight of Swords is like, I see you, I'm coming. And the Page of Swords is trying to be the lookout, but isn't really being effective at it. All of that to say, it almost feels like there's 2 parts of your, like, mind that are working together to undermine or undercut you. And this Knight of Swords is basically, like, here to be like, cut it the fuck out. Like, I'm gonna cut you down. I'm gonna call you out. You're not allowed to do that shit anymore. And it feels, so for you, that might manifest in ways that you talk down to yourself, like literally in your mind. Like, swords are thoughts, are words, and I feel like the words that you use about yourself, the way that you talk about yourself, particularly for a lot of you, I feel like your physical body, maybe for some of you, your potential in terms of like wealth and money and success as well. But for a lot of you, I feel like it's like your physical, like literally this is about how you talk about yourself physically. And it's like there's 2 parts of your mind that are like trying to get away with this and to excuse this and are defensive when anyone tries to give you a compliment or when anything tries to sort of get around and like be nice to you, essentially, like say anything nice about you. Because the 7 of Swords can also, for me, be imposter syndrome. And I almost feel like for you, this is like self-doubt. This is like not believing that you, maybe not only not believing in like compliments that you get or in kind words that you could say about yourself or someone else could say about you, but also not believing that you can change as a person or that you can change the way that you think about yourself. And then this Knight of Swords is coming in and being like, cut that shit out. I'm fucking done. Like, the Knight of Swords has had enough. The Knight of Swords is not putting up with this bullshit anymore. And I feel like the Page of Swords is, like, defending the Seven of Swords, and the Knight of Swords is like, no, we're done. So there might be... I feel like the Page of Swords is, like, self-deprecating tendencies that are keeping this, like, doubter, imposter syndrome, like, deceitful, lying Seven of Swords, like, the lie, because it's lies. Whatever mean stuff that you're saying about yourself in your head is lies. But the Page of Swords is, like, almost like the outward manifestation of those lies that you tell yourself about how terrible you look and how terrible you are, maybe, or just, like, how incapable you are, depending on what this is about. And it comes out in this Page of Swords. I'm getting, like a self-deprecating humor, like a lack of self-belief, and just like, putting yourself down, minimizing yourself, playing it small to other people. And like, that's because on the inside, like, you've got all this like energy stealing, like, bad juju happening in your mind. And how you release that, how you let go of that, is you just say enough. Is you let the other part of your mind that does not want to put up with any of this bullshit anymore come in, swoop in, and cut it down, and just be like, nah, we're not doing that anymore. We're not making excuses for it. We're not saying this bullshit to other people. We're not defending it. We're not protecting it. We're not giving it the time of day. If I see it coming into my mind, I'm cutting it off at the knees. I'm just being like, oh, we're done with that line of thinking. Oh, we're not going to say that mean comment about ourselves. Oh, we're not going to think about that anymore. No, we're done. Literally, just calmly and coldly cutting it off. We're not humoring it. We're not done. We're not doing it. That's what this Knight of Swords is. And that is the role that you can play in releasing whatever inhibitions you have about your physicality and about your potential. That's where this pause for reflection card also comes in, because it might take some pausing and reflecting repeatedly to catch and notice when your Seven of Swords, when your brain tries to run away with these old ways of thinking, right? When you maybe also start making some, like, jokes about yourself, or just saying mean things about yourself, or thinking mean things about yourself. Like, anytime you do that, you have to, like, actively pause, actively stop, actively take a step back, and, like, reset, because you're used to that. Your brain is just, it's carved some, like, grooves into your mind, and you're working on cutting that out. You're working on stopping doing that. And so it might be a bit forceful at first. You might have to really just like no, like no tolerance policy. We're done with this. And you just might have to do that over and over and over again until your brain stops being used to thinking this way and becomes more open to new ways of seeing things. So when we get over to the Star, the Sun, and the Hanged Man, I mean, first of all, the Star and the Sun both have naked figures on them, right? The Star is like a naked woman, just like out here, the water bearer, she's chilling. And the Sun is a naked baby, having a good time, riding a horse. Very joyful cards. The Star is about being seen sometimes. In this case, I feel like it's about being seen. And putting yourself out there, being seen. The Sun is about enjoying yourself, having fun, and not being, like, the Star might know she's being looked at, right? But the baby isn't really thinking about being looked at. The baby's just having a good time. The baby on the Sun card is like, doesn't really even register the fact that it's naked. That's what I feel like. And so I feel like there is both a part of you that maybe longs to be seen and longs to be comfortable with being seen, maybe physically. It doesn't mean, you have to go out and be naked. I don't mean that. I mean, like, listen, like, if there's a certain context where you really want to, that, yeah, sure. But, like, I mean, this is about, like, being seen and being comfortable with your physicality and being okay with other people, like, perceiving you, right, in your body for who you are. And maybe even if for people where this is more about your potential in terms of, like, wealth and success, even celebrity, also feeling like you want to be comfortable being seen and perceived by other people on a large scale. But for some people, it's literally just feeling comfortable being seen at all, right? And feeling good enough about your body that like you can show it off and just be confident in it. But also with the Sun card, it's like also just not even focusing so much on your physical body and like what it looks like, right? And how it's perceived by other people. Like being in your body without being obsessed with your body and how it's being perceived outside of you. Yeah. That's what we're aiming for here. And so with the swords energy coming out, I feel like there's been a lot of being in your head. And so thinking about your body, thinking about how other people are thinking about your body and or like your physical reality, your wealth, whatever. But I feel like it comes, no matter what, I feel like being in your body as opposed to being in your head is important. There's an aspect of bringing yourself back to the body, bringing yourself back to full embodiment that is going to help you release inhibitions around it, starting to learn to enjoy existing in a physical form, rebuilding trust with your physical form, forming a different relationship with your physical form through being seen a little bit more, and also through having fun, maybe even like doing physical activities that to you are fun, that gets you into your body, but also brings you joy, right? So not like forcing yourself to work out because, oh, I should do that, you know? But I don't really enjoy it and I hate it. It's more like finding a fun way to engage yourself physically that you enjoy doing and you kind of forget about like how you look for a minute and you're just like doing it, right? So like if you really enjoy, I'm getting the sense of like joining a dance class. So if you have insecurities about how you look and you have insecurities about being in your body and how you move and just how you exist, even like even not just about how you look, but also just like how you carry yourself, you know, there could be some social anxiety happening. I feel like it's like, okay, joining a dance class might feel really difficult, right? Because you have to go and like be a part of this class and be seen. But taking that step and actually putting yourself in that environment and just doing it for fun because it sounds like a fun thing to do. If you're willing and able to take that first step, it's like a major step in terms of like just letting go of those, like starting to, I'm feeling for some of you that might be too big of a step right off the bat, but I'm also feeling like maybe for some of you, like just starting to like watch like dance videos on your own at home and like do those like just on YouTube or whatever and engaging with those and moving your body in that way and just like getting a little silly with it, getting crazy with it in your own home, like in your room or whatever, or just turning on some music and doing that. Like literally start there, let it grow. But like you're ready to let go of this discomfort that you have with your physicality. And that is one way that I feel like you can do that. And you don't have to take a huge leap and put yourself on a stage or put yourself in a dance class if you don't want to. That could be one way to do it though. But like you can just start by moving your body on your own, in your own home, and just like letting yourself let loose, even just for like 5 minutes a day. Just put on one song a day, dance like crazy to it, get yourself in your body, maybe start the day like that or end the day like that, and then go about your day, you know, and see what that does for you. Because we're really releasing this insecurity around you existing in this physical form and being seen and being perceived, and just also just like being in yourself. Which by the way is what this Hangman is about, is like shifting your perspective from looking at, it's almost like you're looking at yourself from the outside. And so that's why how you're thinking about yourself. You're like almost anticipating the judgments and comments that other people will make about you before they're even made. And you're making your relationship with your body all about that instead of being in it. And you're so this practice of like being willing to be perceived by yourself and also being able to experience your body in contexts that are not about how you're perceived, it's going to shift your perspective on how you just relate to having a physical form at all. And like the confidence in the Star and the Sun card here, and the self-assuredness, and just like the star. Also, here's the thing, I feel like the star is comfortable with being perceived, but I don't even think I think similar to the baby, I don't think she's really thinking that much about, like, she's not thinking about, oh, my body is, I'm comfortable with being perceived because my body is acceptable to be seen. She's comfortable with being perceived because she is fine. She likes how she looks. She's fine with how she is. She also exists more within her body than outside. It's like, I'm feeling like I had this feeling last night too. I was thinking about how much more I enjoy being in my body now at the age that I'm in than I used to, because of certain like health issues I had and just certain like insecurities I had that with time, with years of like just working on myself and working on my health and just developing a different relationship with my body through yoga and things like that, I just enjoy existing in my body so much more now. And it took time and it took deliberate effort, but it's so nice to feel that way. And you start to feel almost like, how could I ever hate my body? Because it's just such a sweet, like, little, it's like it's like your own, like, little, like, it's like you love it. And how could you ever be mean to something that you love, right? And so it's like developing that relationship with it, almost like it's like a beloved pet. It's like something that you are privileged to take care of and exist in and experience. And no matter what it looks like or how it feels like at any given moment, right? You just love it. And so it's unconditional love. You experience unconditional love for it. And so yeah, so maybe sometimes you're like, oh yeah, I feel good in my body and like I love how it's perceived and how other people perceive it. But it's not because you're like shallow about it. It's because like you love it, and even if other people don't, like, you wouldn't put up with that, because like, how could you put up with someone else mistreating something that you love so much, right? How could you put up with someone else being so rude about something or someone that you love so much, right? And that's how you feel about your body. Like, I feel like that's the relationship that we're developing here with our physical form, and also with your physical world as well. If you are also like looking to create like success and wealth and things like that, like loving yourself, whether it's your body or just like how your personality and like how you exist in the world, like that will help you feel worthy of like creating wealth for yourself, creating abundance for yourself, because you realize that you're actually like creating a good, beautiful environment for something that is important to you, that matters, and that is worthy of that. It's like you are yourself, and you're also taking care of yourself like a beloved pet that you want to create the best possible environment for. And so it's worth the effort. You know, you're worth the effort. You're worth the time that you take to tend to your physical body, and you're worth the time that you take to create security and safety and abundance for it and for yourself, right? That's what I'm feeling. And with the Magician card here also coming out on the bottom of the deck, like it did for another group as well, you have all the tools. You have all the tools at your disposal. For some of you, you might feel like you might make excuses in terms of like, here's why I can't be nice to myself, or here's why I can't take care of myself, or here's why I can't, put in the effort to look the way I want to look, or dress the way I want to dress, or like, here's why I can't be the person I want to be. And it's like, no, you actually have everything you need. You do. You have the knowledge, you have the clothes and the tools and the ingenuity to make them work in the way that you want them to. And you also have the resources internally. Like, you have the drive and the energy and the love and the respect within you. Even if you can't always access them, they're already there. And so all you need to do is tap into that. All you need to do is expend a little bit of effort towards just bettering your relationship with yourself. Like, you already know how to do it. And you're already on that path, I think. It's just a matter of really just, like with this Knight of Swords, just don't put up with the bullshit anymore. Just don't. Just don't. And anytime your mind tries to come up with reasons why, but it's so hard. Oh, but I should. Oh, but I don't want to feel good. Like, no, it doesn't matter. It's just, you just don't put up with it anymore. You just say, even if I feel shitty today, I'm still not putting up with it. Even if I'm having an off day, I'm still not going to think badly about myself. I'll feel, even if I feel ill or sick or bad, or I ate too much, or I didn't work out like I wanted to, or I didn't do the thing that that's fine. Don't be mean to yourself about it. No, we're not doing that anymore. No. You know? That's what I'm feeling. It's like, you're done with that. You really are. And you're well on your way to developing this beautiful, loving perspective and this new way of engaging with your physical manifestation of yourself. So to close here, I'm going to read from the Hafiz booklet on your card, pause for reflection. So let me open to that page and get into that. Where are you? 15. There she is. Okay. 15, pause for reflection. The moon reflected on all she had seen for millions of years, and her conclusion, as ours will be, is luminous. Create a space to reflect on all you know and the insight you've gathered from your recent experience. Sit inside that sacred space and be still. Listen, consider. Now is not the time for action, but for waiting. The master doesn't strive or chase. She is present and can welcome all things in their own time. I do feel like this ability to like not put up with any mental bullshit anymore, and the like practice of being in your body as opposed to like observing your body from outside of itself or like projecting other people's observations onto it. It requires presence, and it requires like the willingness and ability to be with yourself. And I feel like I said, you know, being still might be really uncomfortable, but that is something that you can work on and gain comfort with. And you can start by doing that for us, just like a minute or two a day, just sitting with yourself and being still and quiet if that's not something you're used to. But also, like I said, I feel like there is time for and space for moving yourself moving your body and being with your body and not being still, but doing something that will get you out of your head and into your body in an active way. And I feel like both of those things are important here. But maybe for the mental side of it, that reflection, that being able to pause, take a moment, be still with yourself before you say a comment that you know is not nice about yourself, or when you notice yourself thinking things that are not so nice about yourself, being able to, in that pause, like take a step back and then cut it off right there. Like that's what that stillness and that pause is really important for. And then for you getting really inhabited in yourself, feeling better about expressing yourself physically and just like being in the world, that's where like moving your body in conscious ways is really important. Like exploring movement, exploring different ways to get yourself just like moving and like into physicality. Like I feel like those are the two important aspects of how you release these physical inhibitions that you have about yourself and about how you just exist and show up in the world, right? I feel like both of those things are important here. And yeah, and when I said when I think when the booklet said like it's not a time for action, for me in this context, I'm feeling like that means it's not a time for you to like change who you are or try to fix anything about yourself. That's not like the action that we're talking about. It's more about the everyday commitment to being present with who you are right now, just being who you are right now, and learning to inhabit that fully and be fully present with that. And going from there, basically. Yeah. Okay. So that's all we have today. I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching. And if you are interested in personal reading or hypnosis or human design reading, then you can check out our website. I work with my mom. That's the we that I'm always talking about in these readings. You can check out our website, sunflowerphilosophy.com, link in the description and the pinned comment. Please like, comment, and subscribe as well. I'd love to know how this resonated for you. And thank you again for watching. Have a wonderful life, and I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye!